So if you guys thought last week's episode was crazy, just wait. This week we have a new officer in town and Bad Bitch Allie is back. So let's spill the tea on this episode of Pretty Little Liars to Perfectionists after the secrets. So we're just gonna kick it off right when Allison gets a very mysterious text message from somebody named Nolan. This kind of seems like a throwback to the original Pretty Little Liars with the whole A situation and Allison getting a text message from someone that's apparently dead. So what are we supposed to do with this message? Obviously Allison is just like, oh shit, I'm being framed. What am I supposed to do? So who is she gonna go to? Mona. And she walks into Mona's place and Mona is just in her own world scribbling equations everywhere. So I'm pretty sure this bitch is still crazy.
I feel like I'm back on the hamster wheel, like I'm back in Rosewood.
Okay, the vertex degrees are 4, 3, 3, 2, and 3, so...
I brought pie. Did you hear me? I brought pie. Key lime. The guy at the bakery said it's one of your favorites.
Doesn't make sense.
I need you to snap out of it.
The total sum of the vertex would be...
But while Mona's in there, the camera shows the entire room, so it makes you think, like, what is Mona really planning? And then what's revealed later in the future is that Mona apparently created the monster that Nolan is. So she can figure out his tendencies, just like how she's crazy and old Allie is crazy, then she can crack the code as to who killed him. Also, I just gotta throw a huge line out for Ava. My girl is going through so much this episode. It looks like she actually loved Nolan.
Do you hear yourself? I loved him.
Even though they had to stay in a secret relationship, I can tell she actually loved him. However, do we really know if it was reciprocated? Not yet at this point. Hopefully, if we see more flashbacks, then we can get a little bit more of a glimpse into their secret relationship. However, it seems like Nolan emotionally wow.
Approximately 10 hours later.
However, it seems that Nolan emotionally manipulated everyone, so who's to say if it's real? Then the last question that we should think about with Mona is, why is she doing this? Why is she feeling so attached to figure this out? Why? She doesn't really talk or interact with these kids at all. So obviously Mona has such a deep motive behind everything. So I'm hoping going into the episodes into the future that we see a little bit more as to why Mona is motivated to solve the mystery. So at the funeral, we get introduced to a new character and his name is Mason, a nice little light-skinned boy. And apparently him and Nolan were childhood friends, according to Claire.
I'm sorry. Mrs. H, I'm so sorry.
Thank you, Mason. I know you and Nolan weren't that close this year, but you know, childhood friends are friends for life.
However, he seems a little bit too sad. I mean, obviously we have that deep connection with somebody that we were friends with before, but he seems a little extra saddened to just be getting introduced into the situation. So, Mason, like, who that? Like, why is he here? What's also revealed is that Mason is Caitlin's ex, so there's some history there. Ooh, and staying on the topic of Mason, this boy is a little creepy. While he's talking to Caitlin, he says to Caitlin, he found a way to push us to our limits, and he's referencing Nolan on this. So obviously, Nolan had a specific kind of visceral impact on Mason's life. So hopefully we can see a little bit more as to how he hurt Mason, because of right now, I low-key think Mason could be behind this. Marlene would never name such an obvious victim, so we need to get a couple more episodes in before I start putting in my verdicts and my guesses. Another creepy thing that he says to Caitlin is, if you need an alibi, basically, I got you. So, is he kind of inferring that he thinks Caitlin did it, or is he trying to get more people on his side? What do you guys think? Now, before I get into the new sheriff in town, let's talk about the liars and how guilty they feel. Ava obviously is the most wrecked out of all of them. Caitlin and Dylan are a little bit more relieved. However, they have this worry that someone is watching them, and they're worried that their secrets that Nolan kept are going to get out. So Ava suggests that while they're at the wake, they should find where he stashes his weed in the rose garden. Dylan goes and looks for the weed stash and hopefully their secrets. And as he gets into the rose garden, what's there? Absolutely nothing but a note. And the note says, "I found what you were looking for. I never knew you were such a naughty boy." So this person that's been looking over them and after them and low-key stalking them found the stash and therefore their secrets, so they kind of have them in the palm of their hand at this point. So what does this mean for the liars is the thing. Who is going to be controlling them? We finally get a little bit of an update as to what's happening with the original liars. Mona is on the phone with Hannah and she confirms that Spoby is back, Spencer and Toby are together, which is everything we could ever ask for, and she also mentions Caleb and how he's doing. So Hannah and Caleb together, Spoby is together. I'm happy, I'm crying, this is crazy. Let's get into this new sheriff. She reminds me of Detective Tanner from the original Pretty Little Liars. A bitch, she's cold, just wants to figure it out, doesn't like many people, and Allison does not really take a liking to this at all. The first strike that they have in the interaction between Dana and Allie is that Dana requests all the written papers that the students in Allie's class had written on the Agatha Christie book, and then they were none. Dana feels as if she can maybe crack the code through reading all the students' papers. Right at the end of the episode, class starts again. Allie begins teaching, and who walks in? Dana.
And I'm here for you.
Sorry, it's not a cold, I promise. Allergies.
We're in the middle of a class.
I thought this would be the best time to find a few of your students all together. Can I borrow Ava Jalali, Dylan Walker, and Caitlin Park Lewis?
Asking for Ava, Dylan, and Caitlin. So they all follow her outside. And as they're outside, Dana's basically asking if they have an alibi and where they were that night that Nolan was killed. And so therefore, Allie, stepping in, walks outside and says,
I never thanked you guys for staying late at my house last Thursday. They meant to just drop off a welcome basket, but I ended up monopolizing their entire night.
They were with you the night of the murder.
Don't get me started on Agatha Christie's decision to totally violate the rules of writing by making it nearly impossible for her readers to figure out the crime on their own. I mean, you can ask the three of them. They know from experience. I can talk for hours.
You've convinced me to read the book again.
as we finally get a final view on Allison, she's like,
bring it on, bitch.
For the wicked.
I flipped out. I'm like, finally, Allie is back with the curls blowing in the wind, and all the kids and Ava looked at her and they're like, damn. I'm like, oh my God, finally they know Allie is back. This episode honestly was crazy. The mystery is still building. I'm so excited for this season, and I really want to know how this all plays out. But the question is, what do you think? So comment it down below and let's discuss and spill this tea. So until next week's episode, I will see you guys next time. And as always, can you keep this tea a secret? Shh.